Delanco Township Committee Meeting of May 6, 2024, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Delanco Township Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road, Delanco, New Jersey.
We are recording. Oh, Mike's there.
We are recording, Mayor.
There you go. All right. Good evening. Welcome to the May 6th, 2024 Township Committee Meeting held at 7 p.m. or thereabouts at the Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road in Delanco. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Patrick?
Here.
Mr. Olet?
Here.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes, here.
Mr. Templeton?
Here.
And Mr. Bartlett?
Here. Also present, Mr. Schwab, our Township Administrator, Mr. Fox, our Engineer, Mr. Heinhold, our Township Solicitor, Mrs. Lohr, our Municipal Clerk, Mrs. Russell, our Deputy Municipal Clerk, Mr. Fenimore, our Superintendent of Public Works, and last but certainly not least, Mr. Tilger, our Police Chief. Would you all please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Janice, can we have the sunshine statement and the live stream statement, please?
Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the January 4th, 2024 editions. And written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. This meeting of the Delanco Township Committee may be transmitted via live stream on YouTube video. The streaming of the meeting is not intended to be relied upon as formal public access under the Open Public Meetings Act, and if the technology is disrupted for any reason, the township meeting will proceed in person as an official meeting in accord with the official notice.
Thank you very much. And we will begin with Ordinance 2024-9, amending Chapter 295, governing vehicles and parking, no U-turn. It's the second reading by title only and public hearing. We're going to now open the hearing to the public for Ordinance 2024-9. And there will be a general session for any comments and questions from the public for anything else later on in the meeting. So meeting is now open to the public for this particular ordinance hearing. Seeing no members of the public coming forward, we will close this hearing to the public, and I'll ask for a motion to approve Ordinance 2024-9.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Seuss, second by Ms. Fitzpatrick. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes. Ordinance 2024-10, amending Chapter 295, governing vehicles and parking, no parking certain hours, second reading by title only and public hearing. Hearing is now open to the public again for Ordinance 2024-10. And again, seeing no members of the public, we will close that, and I will ask for a motion to approve Ordinance 2024-10.
So moved. Second.
Ms. Seuss, Ms. Fitzpatrick, roll call, please.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes. All right, as promised, the meeting is now open to the public for any comments or questions. This is session number 1. If you have a comment or question, please approach the podium and give your name and address for the record. The meeting's now open to the public, and there will be another session later on in this meeting.
Where's Ray Weber?
Where's Ray? Oh, he's in Switzerland or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ireland.
We should have gone with him. Where?
Somewhere
Ireland, yeah.
better.
I was worried. Great.
All right, seeing no members of the public, we'll close this portion. And there'll be another session later on, and we will go to comments and reports, starting to my far right with Mr. Fox.
Thanks, Mayor. Actually, I have a pretty brief report this evening. As you know, we did the sheet bids for the seawall. We're still reviewing those bids.
Harry, just pull the mic a little closer to you.
We are reviewing the bids and doing the contract properly. And we'll have a recommendation for the next meeting. on that project. The town hall parking lot, you see, that's finished. This week is difficult with the rain, but we some clear days that we count on. We'll be able to strike this week, if not, we'll strike soon, the weather permits. We also, as you know, extended the Field of Dreams road. We paved that way down to the county trail. We added space for 2 handicap parking, 1 van accessible and 1 car parking. We will have that strength as well through this contract. Public Works, I believe, is going to install that signs, but we can strengthen under this contract. Other than that, that project went reasonably well. Janice got some extra gray hairs over it, but.
Bite your tongue, she has no gray hairs.
Yeah, I think, I'm sorry.
Adam has gray hair.
Yeah.
I have
Adam.
none.
He has an
Adam doesn't have any.
And Bev.
And you see what happened to me.
We didn't even think about you, John.
So, but it's done, so and it came out well. The access road, we also, we suggested, by Captain Seuss, and I agree with it, to install, some, bumpers, some speed bumps, rather humps. Speed bumps are used for slower traffic. Speed humps are more for a roadway, where there's some cars to slow down 15 miles per hour. The speed bumps slows them down to 5 miles per hour. With all the kids crossing back and forth, and that road now looking like a drag strip, we're kind of concerned about, children's safety. So I did get prices, to purchase those, they're temporary, they're plastic ones you may have seen around, and they're removable, so we can take them out in the winter time, and it won't affect John's snow plowing. It actually just moves in the winter and reinstalled in the spring. The price for those are $1,100 each.
It's not bad.
For each crossing. There's actually, you need 3 of them, they come in 6-foot sections. So it's $1,100 for the whole width of the road, so for one of them. Then we would need signs, 2 signs, one on each end, speed bumps ahead. They're relatively cheap. The sign itself is about $65, so I put the post in. So you're looking at about $2,500 for 2 of them, to purchase the materials. And they could be installed by Public Works or volunteers or whoever wants to install them. They're very simple to install.
Are they the PVC ones or the rubber ones?
The rubber.
And then you have to buy the stakes? And the
Yes.
stakes are removable?
Yes, we would put in, actually bolts.
Okay.
That would go down, so we take the bolt out, remove them, then actually just put them back in the spring.
So it's kind of like recessed nuts or whatever in the ground?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, there's actually.
Anchors, yeah. I think that's a good idea. I've spent many soccer seasons out there, and it's like Atco.
Yeah, and,
Before they close.
yeah, it looks like a landing strip now, so
Yeah.
it's going to, I think there's some problems there, so that was a good suggestion, and I agree, and if, if, they can give you a draft list material.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the 2,500, give or take, to install the 2 speed bumps, the removable ones at the Field of Dreams access road to be installed by Public Works and removed by Public Works at the end of the season before winter.
And we have the
Shouldn't
funding
we put
available.
a speed limit sign on there?
What is the speed limit?
Well, I'd say 10 or 15 miles.
Yeah, it's.
Should be a speed limit sign.
I don't think there is one, but there should be.
Chief?
I agree, if we're putting speed bumps in, you should have the 15 mile per hour, speed limit.
Yep.
Do we need an ordinance,
We
an
should
ordinance
also
for that?
actually consider, and I just noticed this, we don't have a crosswalk in that.
Right. I was gonna ask if they were gonna strike that or not.
I was gonna ask that
I'll get
too.
a place to strike that as well.
Thank you.
I think that's important as
Yeah.
well.
I think there used to be a crosswalk there, wasn't there?
There was to be a stop sign and a stop bar.
Yeah, I thought there was a regular hatched crosswalk there. I think the paint is just
I don't
faded
think
away.
so. Because it's just like a gravel road.
Curb at the sidewalk.
Just the sidewalk and then turn to the gravel.
Sidewalk goes between the open and the fence there.
I think there is a crosswalk on the old part of the pavement, right? Coming from the parking lot to the softball.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, closer up there.
Yeah, isn't there a crosswalk
It's a sidewalk, Phil?
across on the road though? Isn't there stripes there?
I think the sidewalk goes across the road, if I'm not mistaken.
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if there was a stripe before that sidewalk was there or not, but
I don't think so.
So where we would put another crosswalk down where the, you know where the fence is? Right before the handicap spot?
I think we should stripe that sidewalk
Mm-hmm.
as a crosswalk, because that's the delineation, and that's the plan, the master plan was to have that.
Yeah.
Going over to the softball field. So I think we should eliminate that.
So we'll need a ordinance to do the speed limit as well, 15 miles an
Yeah.
hour as
Mhm.
recommended.
That's what, yeah, Adam said it.
Do I have a second to my motion?
I second it.
Thank you.
I think an all in favor would be okay.
Doing that?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so I'll
I thought
vote
there
that
was
out,
one,
John.
Imaginations. All right.
The last thing I have is, the Babe Ruth Park. We did do the topography survey, out there, and I haven't had a chance to review it and come up with ideas yet, but the survey is done. So we can lay out the new path as part of the county grant, and then also look at options for drainage.
Just to mention, we were initially going to do the path along Creek Road at the Field of Dreams and do the path in the parking lot to the softball field. Unfortunately, this contractor didn't have that right equipment to do that, so instead we designated those funds to do the entire road, and we are going to look to put the pathways on the Babe Ruth contract for that pavement.
So they'll have the right equipment because it's needed for Babe Ruth.
Correct, that's what they're doing, so,
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
That's it?
thanks.
That's all I have.
Anyone have any questions for Harry?
Harry, the one resident that asked about lead paint in apartments and having to be re-inspected, she said every 3 years. And can you just elaborate on that a little bit for the public, so we have it on the record?
Yeah, the state came out with a requirement, it was actually 2 years ago when it went past, but the deadline for it is July 24th of this year, that all rental units, other than seasonal units, have to be inspected for lead-based paint, if they're older than 1978. If they're newer than 78, they're exempt. There's also another exemption if it's a multi-unit development, and the state comes down and does their own inspection, they get a waiver from that, the state does that inspection. Those inspections, they have to have the initial one done by the 24th, and there's two choices. You can either get a lead safe certificate or a lead free certificate. The lead free certificate is good for forever. But that means that we go in there, or an inspector would go in there and actually test every painted surface in that house to see if it's lead painted on it. It's very difficult to get a lead free unless you had a fire and your house was gutted and maybe built it. Other than that, it's rare to really get that certificate. The other one is the lead safe, and that simply means that the risk assessor, looking at the lead risk assessment, determines, yeah, there's lead paint in there may be lead paint, but it's in good condition and then it's not a safety hazard. And there's different, it's all spelled out on how the inspections are done. You then have to supply the township with the lead safe certificate. That also goes to the state, and another $20 goes to the state. Which actually, this is one good thing the state does with taxes. That $20 goes specifically into a fund for grants for people that can't afford to abate their lead in the house. So if there are grants available, anybody knows anyone that qualifies, it's a simple application online, and they do it, grants available. The certificate's good for 2 years, so you do have to have the re-inspection and during that time period, or if you change the tenant. So if you had your lead inspection and next week a new tenant moves in, you got to have another inspection a week later. That's just what the law says. And one reason for that, it makes actual sense, because what we're looking for as assessors is hazards to children. You can have, and we've done several in town already, you know, there's just one person living in the house, and it's an elderly person. It's not a big deal. If you have a child in the house, especially anyone under 6, anything can be very detrimental to the child's health. So you're looking a lot closer if there's children living in the house. I know as kids, we used to paint up the windows, and, you know, that's what kids do, so.
Put it on a cracker.
Put it on a cracker.
So,
And so, you know, lead paint tastes sweet in case you have one minute. That's why kids.
How do you know that, Harry?
I didn't try it. That's what they tell you. That's why kids eat it, because it actually tastes like candy.
Harry, you said the cert is good for 2 years, but they have to have a re-inspection every 3 years?
Yeah, but actually, you need to cert. It's kind of screwy how they have it set up.
Yeah.
You need to cert every 2 years, but the inspection's good for 3 years or change the tank. So it's kind of convoluted.
Yeah, understood. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but understood.
Yeah.
Much like everything else in the
Yeah.
state. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Mr. Heinhold.
The only thing I'll just mention for the benefit of the public is, I'm not sure if it's been discussed by anybody up here yet, but there's a new round of affordable housing that was just adopted by the state. There's a new methodology for calculating our numbers. That number will be issued through that process later this year. And then we have a very short window to act. So rather than wait for that to happen, there's been a subcommittee of the governing body established to start looking at the issue with our professional affordable housing planner, so that we're not on our heels, but are taking the necessary steps to plan in advance and be prepared. That's all I have.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Okay,
Doug.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question for Doug? All right. And now we'll go to our township administrator, Mr. Schwab.
Thank you. Give you a couple updates on things that you're probably aware of anyhow. Number one, we have finally heard from Comcast. They're ready to install the new fiber optic to speed up our internet. Dan will get that set up hopefully within the next couple weeks. As you know, we did switch over to the new email. That was a bit painful. Don't be shocked if there's a short, painful time when they switch over from the copper wire to the fiber optic for the other, but we'll keep you posted. Everything that is improved sometimes has some pain. I also advise you we're working with Hainesport Township to set up a qualified purchasing agent. So hopefully, if everyone's okay with it and Doug's okay with it, we'll have a resolution to allow us to have a shared service with that, so that we have someone who can help us move forward and faster with purchases, because we don't have to go out to bids for many things that cost between $17,000 and $45,000, which are a lot of our projects. So hopefully we'll make that work. Mike and I have been working with the flood hazard ordinance overseers of DEP, and we think we finally have something that they'll be happy with. So before the next meeting, I should have it finally put together and sent up to them, and get that introduced at your May 20th meeting. If any of you want to read those 20 or 30 pages of technical stuff, you're welcome to do that also. But I'll be sending that out. The other thing I'm aiming for that meeting, you know, we changed our longevity policy for employees effective July 1st, and we also, so we need to change our personnel policy for that, and also I want to get the salary ordinance, salary resolutions for July 1st approved, so we can get that posted shortly and be ready for that period of time. It's coming up quickly. And the last thing is that the shared service agreement with Beverly City for the sweeper is being implemented, and John's worked on sign to put on the side of it, and we're talking, Rich Wolpert and I have talked about doing a piece of information put out in the Beverly Bee to let everybody know about this successful shared service plan, and hopefully we'll see a difference over time. John and Bobby and everybody is working well with Beverly, and hopefully we'll see an impact on that. So those are some of the things we're working on.
Sounds good. I saw that photo that John sent to some of us of all the stuff the street sweeper picked up. That was
Dumpster.
the
dumpster.
The dumpster, yeah. The
Dumpster,
stuff
yeah.
that the street sweeper picked up, so that's amazing. He filled that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one by the river
That
needs
must
to be
have been in the
dredged.
whole town.
Yeah.
yeah, that was just how many streets,
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, so John will in his report go into
Right
detail.
down into the
To the river.
and into the creek. And then everybody's wondering, why is it everything filled up?
That's right.
That's why.
It was eye-opening, for sure.
Absolutely.
Richard, do you need a motion to move forward with your QPA?
You'll have a resolution at your next meeting.
Okay,
It's just to let you know it's coming.
got it.
And did you hear anything from Dan when the new Wi-Fi system in the building is going to be installed?
And I think it's probably the third on his job. He had to order some stuff that he didn't think he needed to before. I was going to follow up on him, but so excited about the fact that Comcast did its engineering and they're ready to go. I thought that was the highest priority, but
Yeah.
I understand your need for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it looks like our stream went down tonight because the Wi-Fi isn't working again.
Okay, well,
So
Bev and I will ask him tomorrow.
let Dan know, yeah. All right.
It's authorized, just got to get the equipment, put it in the ceiling.
Yep. Sounds good. Anyone have any questions for Rich? All right. And we'll go to department heads. Chief.
Good evening, thank you. I'll begin with our statistics for April. We ended the month with initiating 23 police cases. There were 141 motor vehicle stops conducted and 72 motor vehicle violations issued. The officers handled 965 calls for service. They also handled 7 motor vehicle crashes, and they had 5 adult arrests, 5 contempt arrests. This Thursday, we have a meeting at Newton's Landing. It's scheduled for 2 o'clock, so we're looking forward to that. We're going to have a couple officers there, so we'll be informative as well as a meet and greet type of setting. Also want to remind everybody about our Coffee with the Cop event at Pied Out. That's going to be on May 18th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. This Friday, I'm happy to report that Christopher Orff, our recruit who is in the Atlantic County Police Academy, will be graduating.
That's great.
So we're excited to bring him on board. We had a lot of training within the last 2 weeks specifically. I'm really trying to get our younger officers and supervisors some training to really bring our department up to speed and continue with the education for the officers. Sergeant Deering attended a background investigation course with police licensing. They're really putting an emphasis on background investigations for officers. So they have criteria that have to be met now. So we sent Sergeant Deering to go to the course, and we'll be sending additional supervisors as well when they offer the courses in the future. Detective Lippick attended a comprehensive interview and interrogation course. That was a 2-day course. Patron Gallagher attended a week-long basic crash investigation course, and that's a prerequisite to become an accident reconstructionist, which we are now being mandated to have each agency. So that's the first course of, I believe it's 5 courses. Patron Correa attended a drug interdiction and complete traffic stop training course, and that was a 2-day training. And this week, Detective Lippick is attending a week-long criminal investigation training course. So we're busy at the police department with the training. And that's all I have to report right now.
A lot of training. That's good to hear.
Chief, are you sending just one officer to the accident reconstruction training, or is that going to be
Yeah, at this
cross-training?
time, we can't afford to send multiple because
Yeah.
they're usually a week to a week and a half long classes for each
Okay.
course.
Wow. Okay.
So they're
And he
pretty
would-
extensive.
Is he going to be certified after this training to do that?
This is just the first
It's just the
course
first.
of, he's gonna have to go through 5
Okay.
courses to become a reconstructionist. Yeah.
Understood.
It's pretty,
Pretty extensive, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have questions?
Yeah, Chief, last Sunday, not yesterday, the 28th of April, there was, I guess, a boom party over in Philadelphia down at that Pleasant Hill Park.
and I called into Central Dispatch. I know several people that I ran into on the street also called in, and the dispatcher said that they were recording the calls, taking a record of the complaints and where they were located, who was calling in. From noontime or 11 on last Sunday the 28th till about 7 p.m., just loud thump, thump, thump in the house. At times you could hear the music. It's 2 miles away. And, but back to my question is the county, is there any effort that you know of or heard of that they're trying to collect?
Well, Chief Calabrese was the spear of that.
Right.
And I know at multiple chiefs' meetings, he's going on the topic about it, and it's frustrating because you make the calls to the agencies over in the Pennsylvania, side of the river, and a lot of times with Philadelphia, we get the same response. You get to it if we can get to it. They're busy. We understand that. But I mean, I can't say. I mean, we're continually having these problems, so obviously,
right.
There's something still not happening to deal with these boom parties.
Well, the new Philadelphia mayor and administration seems to be aggressively taking care of business downtown.
Yeah, and I'll have to get back to you because I don't know what the lines of communication with them are right now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to speak on something I don't have the knowledge of, but I agree. Everything they're saying seems to be like they're taking a more proactive approach for battling these types of, crimes.
Migraine.
And I was in touch with Mayor DiGirolamo's office in Ben Salem, and his, they don't have chiefs there, but whatever their equivalent is, because a lot of people thought it was coming from the mall that's in their district, and they said, no, we're patrolling that, it's not coming from here, and...
That was the cars.
Yeah, the burnouts, yeah, they're just as frustrated with everything going on there.
Well, right, they're
right
closer
there
than we are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the 15th district, by the way, in Philly, that area.
8th and 15th.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we've over the years, we've been in touch with the 8th, and, a lot of times we hear the same.
But again, I mean, we're in a time where it seems anybody can do what they want and there's no consequences. I mean, we know that
better than anybody,
yes.
Unfortunately.
But to bring it closer to home, loud noise from cars, someone's, speaker system in their car driving up and down our streets. There's that one vehicle, that trike that drives around, you can hear it 3-4 blocks away, and how someone can impact 9 square blocks of our town with his mixtape of, I don't care if it's Bach or Beach Boys or Bad Bunny, your music doesn't need to be in my house.
Right.
Right.
And
we do have an ordinance for it.
Right. And so I just want to reinforce that if there's, someone who's disrespectful of our community, that they get called in. It's in the scheme of things, it's probably, or it is, a lower grade offense, but it's quality of life in our community.
Absolutely, and when it's here, I mean, I expect our officers to, address those things, because we aren't Philadelphia, where we, not saying that we're not busy for the, the volume of calls that we get compared to the officers, but I expect our officers to be addressing those things, and I'll reiterate it to them.
It's hard. I think it's hard. I can hear them when they come across the bridge, and then a lot of them do. They come down Rancocas first. But it's hard for me to get the license or something.
Yeah.
I was actually right behind one of the cars the other day. It was a white Mustang. I should have taken a picture of it. And he does drive through town occasionally. But some of the newer vehicles, they make them loud like that. But a lot of them put their radio up so loud that when they have those booms from Pennsylvania, it gives me a migraine headache because it's constant if I'm outside, and it's hot, and it even comes in your house. And I call them. I have the District 15's number.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's not only here in Delanco, because it goes all the way,
Yeah, it's all along the river.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I will tell you with the noise in town, through my experience being here, most of the success we ever had was actually when we're in the area and actually, catch them doing it. Because you know, you get calls and half time it's after the fact, or when you get to that location, they've
They're
already moved
gone.
on.
Yeah, they're
So-
gone
Yeah,
so
they move
fast.
quick.
Last Sunday evening, Ms. Susan and I and our respective spouses were returning from an event in Philly, and we were driving up 95, and we saw one or two of these boom cars with these ridiculously sized speakers strapped to the roof, and
Yeah,
I've never,
like
I never,
6-foot speakers.
yeah, I was, number one, mortified, number two, impressed. And it's just, how are they just not pulling them over? It can't be legal, but
Yeah.
even more impressive, you referenced Bach or Bad Bunny. I'm impressed you know what
I
Bad
know,
Bunny
me
is,
too.
right?
Yeah, me too.
I had to write it down, so I got the right
Oh
one.
my God.
But,
So there's a whole, I know you're not a big Facebook person, but there's a whole group called Inconsiderate Late Night Philly Music. There's 6,000 members from Jersey that will post.
Yeah.
Starting up in Palmyra, we hear it in Morristown, and there's actually 15th district meetings, community meetings that they set up to address this. So the 15th is trying their best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
They
you
do-
join that, there's a lot of information
Yeah,
on there.
And Chief Calabrese is on that. He's been keeping everybody
Yeah.
updated and.
Yeah.
The city
It's a shame
needs
he's
to shut
retiring
down
at
that
this point,
park. The city needs to shut down that Pleasant Hill Park. I mean, I drove over last Sunday to River Road over in Delran by the treatment plant, and to put eyeballs on it. I mean, in my previous life in the Army, I was a scout, and my job was to find targets and blow them up. And the line I usually got from Philadelphia was,
That's
"Oh,
on the record now.
it's somebody else, it's not us, it's somebody." I said, "No, I'm looking at you," and that's what it is. I mean,
Somebody's gonna go postal on me. It's gonna happen. Yeah, frustrating.
Yeah, probably
But,
right.
you know, a couple of years ago, Chief DeSanto sent me to a meeting with Chief Calabrese and a couple reps from the 8th and 15th District, and their biggest concern was violence or shooting at these meetups, at these boom parties, because it's just an out of control.
They tried.
Sadly,
They moved.
that was
They
their
moved.
biggest
That's-
concern.
They know, they have the police scanners, they know when they're coming.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I do have one more point just because
Sure.
we put it out to the public. We had a luring incident recently,
Oh, yeah.
and just to give everybody a little heads up, it's still an ongoing investigation, but I think it's important to show the type of work that our detective bureau is doing right now. We have identified a vehicle and a potential suspect, so we're working on leads. So I just wanted to make that aware to the committee and the public.
Good.
Thanks for the
We'll
good work
keep-
on that.
Keep everybody, hopefully have more info.
Was there a time of
sooner
day
rather
on
than
that? The time of day that occurred?
I think it was like
It was like 8 and
8:20,
Yeah.
8:20.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why the video wasn't that great, because it was nighttime.
That's good.
Plus the car was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Mr. Pettimore, your turn.
Yes, thank you. Picked up 72 cubic yards of brush, chipped up brush. We picked up 30 cubic yards of spring leaf pickup. And as usual, nobody can follow a schedule. Replaced 13 stop signs, cut all township property 4 times, it's weed eating and everything. The field of dreams, we just cut to the backside to wherever we own, to the high weeds. I don't like the fact that those high weeds got seeds. We're gonna be coming across that field, so we think we made about 10 passes from the end to the trail. So if somebody sees that, we got that done. We lined the ball field 13 times. We put a half a ton of asphalt out for potholes. We put 2 truckloads of millings down at the end of Vine and Walters, the dirt road that keeps washing out, that one of these days we should replace. It's getting worse. I don't know why, but I wish that,
Are you talking about that strip of Delaware Avenue?
Yeah.
That's down there
yeah,
between
right next to
Delaware-
Hawk Island.
Okay.
I made a pass out to the Hawk Island. There was a couple of trees that were blocking the roads. Just try to keep everything clear, so if emergency vehicles gotta get out there, they can get out there. And that's it.
All right.
John, I have a question, or
Oh, I'm sorry.
on Shade Tree, Richard sent this notice that Bill had done an inventory of the trees, and I was wondering if you got a copy of it, because I think maybe Public Works ought to check this list of dead trees from that grant to make sure that they're all listed. That's what this was, right?
Bill met with DEP up there the other day, and they went over everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In every section?
Yes, I believe so,
Even
yeah.
Gateway Park and,
Mike, do you have anything to add on that? Did you hear anything about it? Okay.
No, I just knew they were out there doing the survey.
Yeah, just what,
Yes, they were doing this.
they just have like one at Gateway Park and two,
Yeah,
I mean.
that's a little.
I know there looked like there was a lot of dead trees, but I see buds coming out on them.
I know, but a lot of arborvitaes are dead.
Yeah,
And I didn't see any of them listed on here. That's why I was concerned. I didn't see any of them listed on this list, and I didn't know if you were involved at all. You should have been.
yeah, I saw Bill at the tree planting at Pearson on Thursday, Friday. I've lost track of the week already. Friday, and he said, yeah, they met out there with the DEP, and there was, I forget the exact number, somewhere in the high 30s that needed to be replaced. We'll be working on that with the contractor. So,
Yeah, and I think Bill was trying to get a hold of the contractor and wasn't having good luck, but Steve said that he reached out, so they were gonna get back together on that. Richard, do you know anything, any status on that?
No, I don't. I haven't heard any more.
Yeah, I'd
Same
like to
thing you
have
saw.
a new list then, maybe, if we could get a new list, because I know, it just says Vine Street, Buttonwood, 8 arborvitae, but I think there's more than that.
Yeah, and we gotta get them in the ground soon, because it's getting hot.
Yes, we're gonna have the same problem again.
Shade tree, I mean, we did not contract with Taylor people to be involved anymore, so it's really up to Shade Tree Commission to get it done.
Okay.
yeah,
all right.
Bill said he was going to continue to follow up with him.
Okay, all right, good. I didn't know if John was involved in that, because I thought
No,
maybe.
Shade Tree Commission only.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And Washington Street, it was gone? Your
They
guys,
picked it up.
did
We
you?
didn't pick it up.
You didn't pick it up,
We
okay.
didn't pick it up.
Did you send a letter or no? You didn't have to?
We sent a letter.
Oh, good.
But, you know.
That was
it's
unbelievable.
It's one thing to put out
Bamboo. It
4
was-
dump trucks,
Okay.
maybe even 5 dump truck loads of material and expect the township to take it.
Yeah,
Bamboo, you can't chip up.
No,
No.
It just,
no.
you
Yeah,
can't,
Yeah.
won't even go through the machine.
right,
Okay, and the bamboo roots, they have to go in a dumpster.
yeah.
You can't put them somewhere.
I noticed it was
in a
picked
field.
We'll
up,
have bamboo growing.
so
Yeah.
I guess John took care of it, having it done. John Fitzpatrick. That's Mary's son-in-law, no relation to me, but.
Yeah, I mean, if they would've called, I would've told her what she could've done, you know, and to give her some options. But to try to make us, I mean, we're only supposed to do 20 minutes, and we do, you know, we try to help everybody out.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
that was horrendous. I mean, it was
for,
two
to
house,
to hire somebody and then to throw it on the street and say, here, township.
yeah. I just wondered if the township went back and picked that up.
We also, just one other thing, we had our cleanup in a well, and I'll report on more things next month on it. But we did 2 dump truck loads of tires. We had about 3/4 of a 20-yard dumpster of, the pressure treated wood, and that's a lot of wood. And we filled 2 dumpsters up, so we did pretty good.
Yeah, I was out here to drop some stuff off, and I saw the guys that were working hard, and that electronics dumpster got almost completely full.
Yeah,
There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Good. Less stuff that goes into the dump and better recycling. That works.
yeah.
And we still have more light bulbs too, by the way.
I know,
We need to light your house up because it's taking a lot of room up.
Beverly or
I know Bobby,
Janice, can
Bobby
we
opened
do
my
like-
truck and tried to put a case in there.
Can we do like a blast to the residents and remind them again of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Get rid
they're,
of some of them.
If anyone needs a box of light bulbs, see me
are
at
they
the
the
end of
ones
the
that have the red, little red dot?
There's a motion sensor on it.
No,
Yeah.
it's just a motion.
No, it's a
don't
light
know.
sensor.
A light sensor, sorry, light sensor.
They don't work
Put a
during the
little piece
day.
of, if you put a little piece of electrical tape, it does.
Is it worthwhile putting the
Yeah.
box out in the foyer as people come and go and just pick up and go?
We could, I just don't want someone to pick up and go with the whole thing.
Why not?
Have you seen how much they've had over there? They have 3 skids.
Yeah.
Who gave them that?
We have some at the
I heard,
firehouse.
yeah. I mean,
We still have a skid at the firehouse that they pawned off, that they donated to us, so, new policy, if someone comes to pay a bill, get a building
You have to
permit,
take a
they
light
have to
bulb.
take a case
Have a
of
light
light bulb.
bulb.
Absolutely. Janice, what do you have for us?
actually, just 2 things real quick. Well, I'll report on the reports, the compliance reporting for the U.S. Treasury for the American Rescue Plan is completed. So we have spent our allocation, and we have, through that, there was some payroll charged to that, used that grant money, 3 police cars, public works vehicle, and part of the street sweeper paid with the American Rescue Plan grant money.
That's great.
So that is completed as far as the compliance, so we'll just have some closeout and possibly, if we're chosen, be subject to a single-digit audit, but we'll cross that bridge if we get there. And then the other thing, I have some correspondence, but I'll be for correspondence. And then, Bev, do you want to report on the shredding that we had this Saturday?
Erin Patton and Jessica Husband worked our shredding event in the office. We had 68 households participating, which was up from the fall. Very busy, very steady. The cost for that event is $500, and they disposed of 1,990 pounds of paper.
Wow.
And in addition, the township disposed of 21 boxes of documents and 1 computer hard drive, and authorization from that was given to us by the state through the state records.
Good.
Pretty successful for us.
Sounds like it was a good weekend from shredding and from the cleanup of public works.
And I'll just have correspondence later on.
All right.
Thank you.
I would just like to take a moment and commend the administration, Mrs. Lohr, Mrs. Russell, Mr. Schwab, for managing and keeping track of the ARP funds for the last couple of years. That's incredibly complex, and it has to be correct, and thanks for keeping track of that and doing it right. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, and I guess now we'll go to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Does anybody have anything that they have questions on or want removed from the consent agenda?
No.
No.
All right. Ordinance 2024-11, amending Chapter 295 governing vehicles and parking. First reading by title only and set public hearing date for May 20th, 2024. Ordinance 2024-12, ordinance authorizing the township clerk to act as issuing authority as to bingo and raffle licenses and to amend Chapter 228 to provide for prohibitions and enforcement. First reading by title only and set public hearing date for May 20th, 2024. Resolution 2024-77, resolution authorizing the issuance of a bingo license. Resolution 2024-78, resolution authorizing the issuance of a raffle license. Payment of bills, current fund, $1,660,634.10. Payroll, $176,893.09. Capital fund, $2,607. Escrow trust, $2,312.75. Municipal open space, $9,528.45. Approval of the minutes from February 5th, February 26th, and February 27th, 2024. Approval of facility use request, Gateway Park for June 14th, 2024 from 6 to 8 p.m. And can I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Kate and Fern, roll call, please.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Bingo.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
And Mr. Bartlett?
Yes. And back to you for correspondence.
All right, we have a few pieces of correspondence. The first one is we received a letter from the Arbor Day Foundation. It's in your packet. On behalf of the Arbor Day Foundation, I'm thrilled to congratulate Delanco Township on earning recognition as a 2023 Tree City USA. From Dan Lambie, of the Chief Executive of the Arbor Day Foundation. So we have that. We have a letter from the New Jersey Department of Transportation announcing that applications will now be accepted for the NJDOT fiscal year 2025 state aid programs. The deadline for grant application submission is July 1st. So if you'd like, I can list that on the May 20th agenda, unless you want to wait. The next meeting then is June 10th because of the primary. So you can get started discussing that. I don't know, Harry, if you have a list of projects that you would recommend.
Yeah, typically, John, Richard, and I will go over it. And then
Okay. So I can start listing that on May 20th. You can start discussing it, and then, okay. And then there was one more. Yes, we actually received, what is this? Oh, we received a email correspondence from
John Janis.
John Janis. How'd you know? Yes, of the county highway department, that please be advised that the county will be milling and paving County Route 543 from Lafayette Street down to the bridge on or about May 13th. And I'm assuming that's Lafayette Street in Riverside?
Right.
Down to the Branco, to our
Basically
bridge.
from the watch case. to the
Right.
bridge.
Right.
Including the bridge? Because I saw them marking the bridge.
It says down to the bridge.
To the bridge.
The,
I
traffic-
actually complained about that. The county was having a webinar on what their projected road improvements, and I wasn't able to attend the webinar, but I did send a letter, and I told them that in 2022, we received a letter about an overlay that they were going to do from Palmyra to the end of Delanco. And I said, I realize that funds may be short, however, somebody needs to check from the bridge to the light in Riverside. That road is atrocious. And so they did. Joe Brickley went out and checked it, and that's why it's getting repaid, because it is so bad. I don't know about anybody else, but
I hope he has a cup of coffee in his hand.
yeah, it's horrible. So I am just thrilled that they finally went out, they looked at it, and they saw in their own eyes. I wasn't just complaining about nothing, and they're doing it. So they're doing it from the bridge to the light, which Lafayette Street crosses. That, I guess that's considered Pavilion?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it
I
does-
just want you to know that sometimes your voice is heard.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe Joe could also take a drive down there when it's flooding and see how it looks like.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
It says that the traffic will be maintained while performing the work, but,
Probably do one side at a time.
so they don't plan on closing it, but there could be delays.
Yeah.
And that's all the correspondence I have.
So basically just like when it's flooding. So
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
used to that by now, so.
Yeah.
I have one thing.
Yep.
Chief, this Friday, I just realized it's the Riverside Prom, and last year we were able to close down the road in front of Zerberg and have the police monitor, because that went really well last year, because they all park along Delaware Avenue, and it's a mess with all the kids. Maybe starting at like 4 o'clock, because the prom starts at 6.
All right, just fill out one of those forms and forward it in.
Yeah.
Is it really prom time already?
Yeah, it's
Oh my
amazing,
God.
isn't
I
it?
feel like it just turned January.
Got the
All right.
medicine, too.
Okay. Meeting is now open to the public for comments and questions. This is session number 2. As before, come up and state your name and address for the record and give your comment. Meeting's now open to the public. All right, someone call Ray in Ireland, and he needs to get here. Move on. All right, seeing no one, we'll close this portion of the meeting to the public. Discussion items. First one, status of cannabis law permitted uses. It says continued discussion. We didn't really have a chance to discuss it last time, Doug, because you were out sick, but just trying to see where we're at with drafting that ordinance.
So I thought there was going to be a process with Scott Taylor involved.
He came to a meeting and did a wonderful presentation.
Okay.
So you may want to touch base with him.
Is anything more needed from him? Is there a consensus at this point?
I believe he said he submitted everything he needed to. His work is pretty much done.
Okay. I'll call him then.
Yeah, just confer with him
And if I have any questions, I'll call you.
Okay.
He
All right.
summarized the subcommittees.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Okay. So then
Their
you're just looking
recommendations.
for me, basically, you want me to have an ordinance prepared to implement this, to put on for first reading?
Yeah.
Affirmative.
Yep, okay. Got it.
Can we elaborate a little bit
Is that,
on the canvas?
On what we've discussed with the various permitted uses.
September 19th, 23.
And,
That email.
Was it ever clarified as far as the distance between the property line and
Right.
the residence
Cost.
versus the building and the property lines?
So
I believe
Yeah,
Mr. Taylor did. I'd have to check our notes on that.
Yeah.
And did we come up with
March 24th.
income versus expenses?
As far
Or
as,
what?
From here.
As far as if we permit cannabis warehousing and the bookkeeping that's involved as far as income and what it would cost us on our end to manage that process?
no, I think any numbers would have to be part of the ordinance that Doug will prepare and we'll have to look at. We'll have to get comfortable with it before we approve anything.
I would
Okay,
think- and it
so-
would probably be billed through, it may be billed through the assessor. I'm not sure how that would work. It's really not a pilot, but there is a 2% that, what I understand, it goes directly to the township.
I can't imagine the expenses would exceed income.
Yeah.
Exceed income.
But it should be spelled out, and when Scott did that, presentation, that was something that he was going to take care of. So we'll have to see
Yeah,
what
we'll
they
come
come
back
up
with
with,
Scott
and
on
then, take it from there.
Are you
Maybe amend
saying
it.
the concern would be the expenses would exceed the tax?
Yeah, that's what he's thinking, that our expense to manage it in here would be more than the tax, and I can't imagine that would.
Should not be unless all we got was a micro business and it failed after a year. You know, like that, it should not be that way. It should be, if we have any regular class use, we will make out to the best, to the good on tax revenue.
Because their revenues are in the millions,
Right,
easily.
yeah.
So this is just preliminary to get a start, to get something on paper, and we can tweak it as necessary when we all
Right, I mean, it's not
discuss
gonna
it.
pay,
We're
like,
certainly not putting anything
We're not,
on for approval
nothing's
or
finalized, we
anything
just
like
gotta
that.
get it started.
we're not at an ordinance phase, right? We're still learning.
No, we're at the ordinance phase, let's draft the ordinance and then
Get it
tweak it as
draft.
necessary.
Well, we still have questions on the point that Mr. Alep brought up as far as, I think Mr. Taylor was incorrect in his statement as far as the buffer zones and whether it was, the distance was measured from the physical building or from the property line. In most cases, it's the property line.
We could put in the ordinance however we want.
Well, let's understand that before we start spending attorney
We should have
money.
one thing hold up the whole process. We
Well,
can
my concern is that, you know, bring an ordinance in and we're gonna have it for first reading and
No,
like.
that's not what we
things-
said.
No, to discuss
We need to
first.
draft it and then discuss it. We're not
Okay.
gonna bring it in for
Tweak
first
it,
reading. and
yeah.
tweak it.
Far
Yeah,
from
we're
first.
not,
No,
we're not
we
gonna
have
put it
to
in.
get it started. I mean, we did this, what was
You
it,
did
last
study.
summer that we summarized it and we're just sitting on it. So let's get the process started. We can all discuss it as a group and then move forward. We're not gonna decide anything. Nothing's
And is
final.
that something that the community really, do we really want that?
I mean, I think we're well past that. The community has
Yeah.
had, God knows how many opportunities to discuss this. The community as a whole, the state as a whole voted to allow these uses in the
Yeah,
state
but
of New
it's
Jersey.
two different things, as has been brought up. Yes, there was an overwhelming majority that approved cannabis, but it's a different thing to ask someone's opinion whether they want it next door to you, or whether it's next to your school, or down the street from where you work.
Right, and that's why we had a cannabis subcommittee that started 3 years ago, and
Right.
which members are in this room, which put together recommendations, which was given to this body last year, last October, November, somewhere.
Right,
that time.
it's restricted to industrial zones.
No,
Still have some things to learn about it.
Retail uses, I think it would just be, I don't have the exact nomenclature in front of me, the warehousing and anything associated with being in a
Manufacturing,
warehouse.
warehousing, and
Distribution, yeah.
Did we all see that the state released a database listing town by town, who approved what, yes, no? And there's an overwhelming majority of towns that have approved these uses. We are one of the very few that are just opting out still.
Yeah, so the email, I think it was last week, it came,
Yeah.
one of the league emails.
Yes.
But,
So if you haven't seen that, check it out.
There'll be definitely more to come.
Delanco had opted, or
Yeah,
still
but
opted
they
out.
actually show you all the towns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Riverside, actually, they just opened an actual dispensary right there on Scott Street. I don't know if anyone has driven past that. Honestly,
Yeah.
the business doesn't look that crazy.
It's
as
not
far as-
busy.
It's not busy at all.
I mean, like,
You
and
can
they have a
certainly smell it.
drive-in.
I mean,
You could certainly smell it before the business opened.
Well, yeah, and I smell it up and down the street, walking around town, you smell it in certain neighborhoods, and it's just, it's a disgusting business. And,
I know, but
I don't know why we're inviting that in.
It wasn't our doing. The state did it. But I know many years ago, my first trip to Key West, it wasn't legal, but I just walked down Duval Street, and honest to God, there were so many people smoking pot, I was shocked. And it's just, and it wasn't even legal then, but,
So we can have that right here.
And I was in AC the week before last at the Emergency Management Convention. I'll tell you, I walked on the boardwalk, I'm pretty sure I got a contact high. It was that much out there. I'm talking about literally
is.
walking from resorts to Hard Rock next door, and you can almost feel the plume in the air.
I was in Las Vegas in the middle of April, where it was legal for a very long time. And we went to visit one of the facilities, not to buy anything, just to see it, because they actually have the growery in the back and the facility in the front. And you would be shocked at the amount of average soccer moms that are in there, executives, business people. It's not what you think in your mind is smoking weed. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's everyday people. I sat there for 2 hours and watched people come in.
And I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
I know.
I just want us to,
Do it right.
do it right, and, in my opinion, that having it manufactured in town, I know they say that all the filters and, they keep the odor to that property. It's not something that I would want to be living near. And, we talk about the distribution of a warehouse. We have the warehouses. If they bring it in and it's all sealed and you don't have, I guess it'd be like bringing in liquor and having it in a warehouse and, distributed from there to the store in Riverside or Edgewater Park or
The other store in Riverside or the other store in Riverside.
Right, I don't think I have objections to that, but actually having a manufacturing warehouse in town or out here in our neighborhood next to our parks, near our schools, it's not something that I am comfortable with, and it's not something that I would want. The other piece where you're bringing in from the fields to have it processed, I'm not sure how that packaging works, but, it's a holding spot where, to my recollection, they have like 48 hours to move it into a production site. So if we had that here, again, it's raw product that's being moved to go to manufacturing, and I would be opposed to that. Again, because of the odor, or the potential odor, that once you have it, it's here forever. And would you want to live next door to that? If you were a resident, or if you're enjoying one of our parks, whether it's Pennington Park, the Field of Dreams, you're in the schoolyard over at Pearson, which is right across the tracks from, our warehouses. I'm concerned about that, okay?
So there's no actual
so we'll talk
fields
here.
anymore. It's not like you think it's all indoor growers, right, with lights and...
And that's not even one thing that we're putting,
Right,
that
so
we
we're not
recommended.
allowing growers.
Oh, no, I know we're
Cultivation, no.
not,
Yeah.
no, you're not growing it, but if
One
it
less
goes
school to worry
from
about.
the fields down in, I don't know, I'll say Vineland or somewhere out in that
They're
area.
okay with
Right,
class
and they're
two
bringing it up
manufacturing.
here to be manufactured,
I thought that was school 3 and 4.
Into various products like gummies or whatever else they're.
right, so you have a warehouse where that's coming in to go to production.
Right.
And they have, again,
three,
my
and four.
understanding, 48 hours that the product
That
can
was
sit
right.
there, but then it's gotta be
One
moving.
manufacturer,
So if you
no
got the
problem.
stuff moving, you know, you have spillage or you get whatever, you know, so that's where my head's at and that's where my concerns are.
I think they're right, if you go down Taylor's Lane next to the concrete plant, the little warehouse, if you look at the concrete on the left,
Uh-huh.
is actually opening a grocery facility right there, so that'll be a good thing to watch and see and drive with your windows down and maybe get an idea too.
Yeah.
Just saying, it's one of the first
Don't
facilities
inhale.
in the area.
Oh,
Yeah,
Not while driving.
so, just,
all right,
yeah.
thank you.
Then, sign ordinance amendments, Fern and I are gonna be meeting this Friday to review that.
Oh,
So we'll-
good. And I know Janice and Richard had some comments on that, too.
Yep, we need to circle back and get copies of them.
Good.
That was, I guess, over a year ago that we started that, and we're gonna get this moving and hopefully wrapped up before the end of this year.
Yeah,
So,
good.
Great.
Sounds good.
All right.
I have one other item, Matt, I have one other item I want to bring up.
Sure.
I did hear from New Jersey DOT regarding the jug handle.
Oh, okay.
And they are, right now, they've changed the timing of the light so that more traffic can go through. And they are surveying that little island there to see if they can cut a piece of that off to make that second lane
Wide enough.
wider.
Great.
So hopefully that gets done, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm on top of that.
I did notice the light was longer.
Yeah, that's the first thing they did. They did it almost right away.
Since they repainted that, restriped that, I actually used it for the first time, as I've been going every other direction, and I was, for my many trips to Home Depot, I was going, the traffic was backed all the way onto that bridge.
I know.
Crazy.
It is crazy, yeah. So hopefully
Alright.
they're gonna increase that roadway.
Hopefully.
I'm working on it.
I don't believe we have a need for another executive session, so,
Yeah, we're halfway along.
no, I'm good. So I'll have a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second?
All right, Carol and Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everyone.
So I found,
Oh my God, I know.
No more
I can't stand up
executive
anymore.
session, please.
I found my stuff.